Alright, so this should be the last video. I'm just going to click on it, hit 1. But if you hit on 3, we can see roughly what it looks like. I'm going to turn wireframe unshaded off, so click that off. You can get a rough idea of what he and or she looks like. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more things basically. One is to produce enough geometry so that areas can bend. Okay, so for instance, this is where his knee is. So if I were to grab this vertice, or this leg here, and if I were to rotate it, so D and up and over, there's just not enough geometry there. So I need to have 2 more edge loops to represent this knee. Okay, so and that's generally what you want, is to have at least 3. So I'm going to put 1 in between the 2 of these, and that'll be like where the ball of the foot is. We'll add more geometry here, but basically wherever he's going to bend, I'm going to add more geometry. Not so much to make the form look better, so much as it is to help with flexion. Okay, so I'm gonna use my multi-cut tool here, and I'm just going to literally add 1 here, there, and then I need to be able to bend on the ankle. So this is roughly the center of the ankle, so I'm going to add an edge loop on this end of it and an edge loop on this end of it. That gives me 3. Now I have the knee here, so I'm just going to put 2. We'll put 1 here, so that way it'd be like this one, and this one are my 3 for my knee. Now I have the hip here, so I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 here and here, we'll say. Alright, and then up in the shoulder, and I'll add 1 here, and there, and the elbow, 1 there, and 1 there, and the wrist, so I'll add 1 here. Can I add 1 on the other side? I cannot, so we'll just add 2 here, so 1 there, and 1 there. The neck, I'm just going to add another 1 here, and that should be good. Now, the other thing I want to mention is this, and we'll go through and we're going to look at that in a second, is this. You'll notice that if before, when I hit 3, you'll notice that like our sleeves kind of round out. And the reason why, again, this is a preview of the subdivision mode, but even if I subdivide it, if I hit polysmooth, which is this button, it's going to round out that area. So in order to kind of combat that, what we have to do is add really tight edge loops, and I'll show you. So let's say I put 1 really close to here. Dang it. Really close to here. Okay. Now watch when I hit 3. I'll hit Q so you can see it. Watch when I hit 3. It's going to make it really tight, because what's going to do is it's going to have to subdivide between those 2 spots, so they end up being really close. So wherever you want to have a hard edge, in essence, you want to put a tight edge loop across it. So I'm going to do this. So you'll see if I hit 3 right now, see how it's kind of rounded, right? The shoe should be hard there. So I'm going to hold control and put a really tight edge loop right at the base of the foot. Okay, now watch when I hit 3. See how that's much harder? Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing up here with the shoe. So I'm going to put 1 here, really tight on the inside. And then if I hit 3, that looks pretty okay. Now, again, if you look at here, that looks a little bit weird, so I'm going to put 1 really tight to the outside here. Dang it. Right there, I hit 3. We see how it kind of loops in, or it's kind of like curved. We'll put 1 really tight on the inside here. Now I've hit 3. You'll see it's tight and tight. Okay, and that's fine. So again, with this sleeve, I already did the 1, but I'll do the inside as well. Okay, boom. Alright, so if I hit 3, you can see that's really tight, and that's fine. And here is also going to be doing it, so I'm just going to put 1 on the inside here. Alright, if I hit 3, I'm okay with it being kind of curved into it, but you know, if you want to tighten the outside, just put 1 there as well. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of further polish some of this. So the knee, I'm going to double click this edge loop, that's the knee, and I'm going to hit W, and I'm just going to push it out a little bit, because usually the knee's kind of bent in here and concaved there. Okay, so that'll actually make that look a little bit better. This looks odd to me, so I'm going to kind of scale that in so it's a little more like a, you know, like where the leg would look like there. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm going to grab this, and going to kind of push that down a little bit just so it helps with the flow. Alright, same thing with the elbow here. So the elbow, usually it kind of, I'm going to go like that a little bit. So there's a little bit of a bump for an elbow and a bit of a crease for the arm. The wrist is usually a little bit wider. So I'm just going to double click and drag out to make it a little bit wider there. And that's probably fine. Okay, so let's click it 3, and that's our guy. Okay, if you want to do hair, all you got to do is this. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to hold tab, and you would just like click over where you want to have hair. Okay, like that, and then just hit Control E and extrude out, and you would make hair. Okay, it's not a great solution. Hair is actually a whole nother thing in and of itself. So what I would tell you to do at this point is actually just add more geometry where you need it, particularly in the face, in order to kind of support it. And once you're kind of happy with that, with the model in general, I'm just going to go ahead and delete half of it and flip it again. So I'll just do the top view here. So I'm going to click, so I right click, go to face mode. I'm going to select half of the model. So I'm just clicking in marquee and hit delete. So now I only have half of my dude. I'm going to select the model. And then I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate. And then over here, my scale X, which again, I need to go to the channel box. Click in there on the scale X and type in -1. And that will scale it. Basically what that did is, see red is X, you can see it right here. It's like I clicked on this, and if I go to 0, it makes it perfectly flat. But if I go to -1, it inverses it. See what I'm saying? That's what it did. So that's why we type in -1. Alright, so I got that one selected. Hold Shift, select this one, do Mesh Combine. So that's this right here, the orange, 2 pieces of orange paper around a circle. Right click, go to Vertex, select the entirety of it. Now we're going to hit Merge Vertices, or I think it's just Merge. Click on that. It's going to give you the threshold. Make sure it's 0.001. The idea is that it will try to merge vertices that are within this distance. Okay. Now, if we do 0.001, that means it has to be within a 100th or 1,000. I don't know. I don't remember my math, but it has to be really close. Okay. So if this is too low of a number, so watch if I do 1. I didn't even like that. Let's try. Let's say I do 0.1. You'll notice that. See how the lips merged? Because these are within 0.1 of a distance. Okay. So 0.01. And I might still, if I do 0.01, you're going to see that your vertices, where we had the double edges, let's show it over here, might be better. If I do 0.01, you can see those will merge because they're really tight. But if you do 0.001, those are not that close. They're not as close as 0.001. So that's why we have to do 0.001, because that's how close they have to be in order for them to merge. Otherwise, you have to do is just manually go through and select 2 at a time and merge them, which is kind of lame. I don't think you want to do that. All right. Then when you're done merging it, go to Mesh Display and do Soften Edge, and that will soften it. And then you can take this guy and Control D for duplicate and just move it over for the other eye. Afterwards, if you want, you could take the model. Well, I would just leave it like that. And you more or less got a dude and or dudette. Okay. Oh, I didn't do a shirt. Well, the shirt would be the same as before. So just add like a really tight edge loop. Q. And scale that out like so. And just grab this one and scale that out a little bit too. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. Anyway, so you should have sort of a guy or girl. And that's what it should look like. And so for our next class, just this is what I did. What I want you to do though is you can drastically change the scale. The only thing you need to do is it has to stay in T pose. And what that means is that the arms are going straight horizontally and the legs are going straight vertically. Okay, so they're making like a T almost. Okay, that's the basic idea of it. And that's it. So we will see you guys on Friday.